was young, my family lived overseas. I lived in Indonesia for a few years, and my mother, she didn't have money to send me where our American kids went to school, but he thought it was important for me to keep up with American education, so she decided to teach me extra lessons herself, Monday through Friday. But because he had only time he couldn't do was the 4:50 in the morning. But whenever I complained, my mother would just give me and she say, "It's no picnic for me either, Buster." So I know that some of you are still judging. I'm here today because I have something important to discuss with you. My father left my family when I was 2 years old, and I was raised by a single mom who had to work and struggle at times to pay bills, and wasn't always understanding the other kids and. There was time I missed having a father in my life. There was times I was so lonely and I feel like I didn't fit it. So I wasn't always I should have been, and I did something. I got trouble more than I should have, and my life could have easily taken a turn for worse. But I was lucky. I got a lot of second chances, and I had the opportunity to go to law school and follow my dreams. My wife, our First Lady Michelle Obama, he was a similar story. Neither her parents had left, and he didn't have a lot of money, but he worked hard so that he could go to the best school in this country. But some of you might not have those advantages, but you have those in your life who give you support. Maybe some of you and there's not enough money to go on. Maybe you don't feel safe, or have friends who are pressuring you to do things you know aren't right. Maybe you could be a reader. Maybe written enough to write a book article in a newspaper, but you might not know it until you write that English paper. That English class paper that's assigned to you. Maybe you could be an innovator, come up with the next iPhone. Until you do a project for your science class. Maybe you should be a mayor, or a senator, or the Supreme Court justice. But you may not know that until you join student government or the debate team. And no matter what you want to do with your life, I guarantee that you will need education to do it. You want to be a doctor or a teacher or a police officer. You want to be a nurse or an architect, a lawyer or a member of our military. You're going to need a good education for every single one of those careers. You cannot drop out of school and just drop into a good job. You got to train for it, and work for it, and learn for it. And this is just important for your life, for your future. What you make of your education will decide not less than the future of this country. The future of America depends on you. What you learning in school today will determine whether we as a nation can meet our greatest challenges in the future. You need a knowledge and problem-solving skills. You learn in science and math to cure diseases like cancer, and to develop new energy technologies and protect our environment. You need to insights and critical thinking skills. You gain in history and social studies to fight poverty and homelessness, crime and discrimination, and make our nation more fair and more free. You need to creativity and ingenuity you develop in all your classes to build new companies. You create new jobs and boost our economy. We need every single one of you to develop your talents and your skills and your intellects, so you can help us old folks solve our most difficult problems. If you don't do that, if you quit on school, you're not just quitting on yourself, you're quitting on your country. Now I know it's always easy to do well in school. I know a lot of you have challenges in your lives right now. That can make it hard to focus on your schoolwork. I get it, I know what it's like. But at the end of the day, the circumstances of your lives, what you look like, where you're from, how much money you have, what you're going on at home, none of that is a skill for neglecting or having a bad attitude in school. No skill for talking back to your teacher, or cutting class, or dropping out of school. There's no skill for not trying. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you end up. No one written your destiny for you, because here in America you write your own destiny. You make your own future. That's what young people like you are doing every day, all across America. That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set your own goals for your education and do everything you can to meet them. Your goal can be something as simple as doing all of your homework, paying attention in class, or spending some time each day reading a book. Maybe you decide to get involved in an extracurricular activity or volunteer in your community. Maybe you decide to stand up for kids who are being teased or bullied because of who they are or how they look, because you believe like I do. That's all young people deserve, a safe environment to study and learn. Maybe you will decide to take a better care or so you can be more ready to learn, but whatever you resolve to do, I want you to commit to it. I want you to really work at it. I know that sometimes you get a sense from TV that you can be rich and successful without any hard work. Like your ticket to success is through grabbing or basketball or being a reality TV star. Chances are you're not going to be any. The truth is, being successful is hard. You won't love every subject that you study. You won't click every teacher that you have. Not every homework assignment will seem completely relevant to your life right at this minute. And you won't necessarily succeed at everything the first time you try. That's okay. Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who have most failures. J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter. Her first Harry Potter book was rejected 12 times before it finally published. Michael Jordan was cut from the high school basketball team. He lost hundreds of games and missed thousands of shots during his career. But he once said, "I have failed over and over and over again in my life. And that's why I succeeded." These people succeeded because they understood that you can't let your failures define you. You have to let your failures teach you. You have to let them show you what to do differently the next time. So if you get into trouble, that doesn't mean that you are a troublemaker. It means you need to try harder to act right. If you get a bad grade, that doesn't mean that you're stupid. It just means that you need more time studying. No one born being good at all things. You become good at things through hard work. You're not varsity the first time you play a new sport. You don't hit every note. The first time you sing a song, you gotta practice. The same principle applies to your schoolwork. You might have to do a math problem a few times before you get it right. You might have to read something a few times before you understand it. You definitely have to do a few drafts of a paper before it's good enough to hand in. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. I do that every day. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. Because it shows you have the courage to admit when you don't know something. And that then allows you to learn something new. So find an adult that you trust, a parent, a grandparent, or a teacher, a coach, or a counselor, to ask them to help you stay on track to meet your goals. And even when you're struggling, when you are discouraged, when you feel like other people have given up on you, don't even give up on yourself. Because when you give up on yourself, you give up on your country. The story of American isn't about people who quit the things got tough. It's about people who keep trying harder, who love their country too much to do anything less than their best. It is a story of students who said, when you sit 250 years ago, when on the way to revolution and they founded this nation. Young people, students who said, well, you sit 75 who came this person and won a world war, who found the civil rights and put a man on the moon. Student who said, well, you sit 20 years ago, who founded Google and Twitter and Facebook, and changed the way we communicate with each other. So today I want to ask all of you, what's your contribution going to be? What problems are you going to solve? What discoveries will you make? What will a president who comes here 20 or 50 or 100 years say about your story? Now your families, your teachers, and I are doing everything I can make to sure you have an education you need to answer these questions. I'm working hard to fix up your classrooms, to get the books and the equipment and the computers you need to learn. But you got to do your part too. So I expect all of you get serious this year. I expect you to put your best effort into everything you do. I expect great things from each of you. So don't let us down. Don't let your family down or your country down. Most of all, don't let yourself down. Make us all proud.